Welcome to Beyond the Den, the talk show where we discuss everything going on beyond the den. I'm your host, Jonathan. Today, we have a special guest. With 159 career wins here as head boys basketball coach. Besides being a phenomenal coach, he's an even better person and mentor. With that being said, we're proud to welcome Coach Motusesky.
Hey John, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for coming on. So, Coach, can you talk us through what went on last season, the highs, the lows, and the in-between?
Yeah, well, we had some returning starters last year. Our expectation was to continue to get better as the season went along. And we did that. It was great. As a coach, you always want your teams to get better as the season goes along, to build. You know, it's a journey. And at the beginning of the year is always a challenge because you're getting kids coming off of AAU or maybe not playing much. With our guys, we know they're playing a lot. So what you got to do is just get sharp with doing things on offense, like for our sets, defensively, making sure we're working as a unit. And then you build on that throughout the season. And by the end of the season, we're playing really great basketball. I was very proud of how we finished the season, too.
So what were your biggest takeaways from last year?
Well, the excitement going into this year, because we saw we can go into a state tournament and go on the road and beat a really good Heightstown team. And that said a lot about, our guys and their maturity. And we have so many guys coming back. We have 6 guys that have played a lot of varsity basketball. So the expectation is for us to be, very competitive from the get-go.
Matt McCulca is a big one. So he's a varsity starter as a freshman. Cam Vick, same. What do those players mean to the team?
Oh, unbelievable. We rarely, I would say there's probably been maybe 5 kids that we've had start as freshmen, because it's difficult to start in a Group 4 school with so many good teams that you play against. And, we've been a Red Division team for so long. But just being a Group 4 school, it's hard for a young kid like that to play. And we had 2 guys in Cam and Matt start since their freshman year. So that says a lot about them, their talent, and a lot more than just their talent, how great of kids they are and their maturity levels. But, the skill-wise is great. As you said, Matt is the leading scorer in history already, and he still has a senior year to play. And he has great opportunities to break the school record, both boys and girls, and that's going to happen. And then Cam has a great opportunity to score 1,000. That's just going to happen over the course of the year. So you have your backcourt, both 1,000-point scorers. It means a lot to me because I've gotten to have such a great relationship with both of those two, and they're such great leaders for our program. And that's the expectation is high this year because of those 2 guys leading us.
And so you have your front court. What about the back court?
Yeah.
I saw there's 2 transfers coming in, some big transfers that we haven't had in the past.
Literally, size-wise, yes. We have 2 new players in Corey Thomas. He's about 6'7", and Tristan 6'4". Tristan is coming from Corey's coming from St. Joe's, and Tristan's coming from St. Thomas. And we're excited to have them because both very talented kids. And we've lacked size in the past. While we have some really tough, strong posts already, and love those guys, these guys have a little bit more size. So we're going to be able to have such a great rotation of big men to complement our guard play. So that's going to make it easier for both our guards and our posts to play off each other.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Corey Thomas in the hallway, it's like, I'm 5'5". He's over a foot taller than me. It's horrible. I hate it.
Yeah, a lot of people ask questions. Does that boy play basketball? And
that's what I said.
He does, yes. And thank goodness he does. He could have been playing volleyball or something else, but we're excited to have both of those boys join our program.
The first week of school, I saw this kid walking in the hallway, and I was like, who the heck is that? He better be playing basketball because a few years ago we had a 6'6" player.
Yeah, 6'8", Devin Kennedy. Yeah, that's the last time we had someone that tall.
I mean,
and he was a phenomenal player. He's an all-conference player for us in Devin. So it helps a lot when you have size that can help, like I said, the guard play, rebound, have a post presence that can score inside. That's great to have. And we don't just have Corey and Tristan. We have Jaden Gibbons, we have Noah DeJesus. We got guys that could score in the post, so now we got multiple guys that can go in and out with energy and come in and just don't let the level drop off. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So what are the biggest early strengths that you've seen from this team? I mean, we have less than a week until the first game.
That's a great point. I think their connectiveness. They've been together playing in the summer, then playing in the fall, and now playing in the spring. So really it's a carryover. It's not just everything's new. So I think they're playing well together and have a really good understanding of how each other plays. So I think that should help us get off to a good start. That's the hope. Obviously, we got a lot of good, tough opponents we're playing early, but I think that gives us an advantage that they've been playing together. They're very good friends, and that's not always the case. But with this case, they're working out together, they're lifting together, they're training together. So that helps in terms of their connectiveness and being able to understand each other's game.
I mean, that's amazing. The preseason workouts are arguably the most important part of the season before the season even starts. For soccer, we start in May doing a summer league soccer league and captain's practices. Those are huge. That's what gets the team combined as one unit and where they really feel like a team.
Absolutely. It's very important, and we had tremendous turnout in the fall in terms of lifting. Kids were always there working out a couple times a week. Then they were playing pickup a couple times a week. Then on the varsity level, we were playing basketball on the weekend. So we had a ton of basketball, and the kids are all buying it in because I think they care and it's a priority for them.
Are there any noticeable improvements from specific people that you didn't think were going to show out in those scenarios?
That's a great question. I think everyone has improved their game from last year, which is awesome. I haven't seen anyone say, well, he's the same when he's gotten back. So every guy who showed up in the fall and is now playing and worked out in the fall, now playing in the winter here, have all improved their game in some areas.
I mean, that's exactly what you want.
Exactly.
You can't ask for anything better.
No doubt.
What challenges did you face last season that you're hoping to improve on this season?
Well, the challenge last year was that we had a couple of experienced guys in Matt and Cam, like I said, because we know they started since their freshman year. We had a lot of guys with very limited varsity experience, and I kind of showed early on, and how do you handle adversity? It's good when things are going well, but can you handle adversity when things aren't going well? Maybe the ref's not calling a great game. You think you're, getting the wrong side of the refereeing, or you're not playing well, or teams are going on for a run. And we didn't handle that early on last year. We struggled early on. We got off to a slow start. But I think now with our maturity and our kids are coming back, I think we should be able to overcome those things. Now, we haven't had adversity doesn't start until you're losing or something happens when the season starts.
Yeah.
You could say it could be fall, but it really isn't. So that's going to be the test. But I think they're up to the challenge because we've discussed that. How we're going to handle that as a team, and if we can overcome those things and move on to the next play, I think we should be really good. So it was that inexperience, but now we're happy that we have all these experienced guys coming back.
So with new guys coming in like Tristan and Corey, and like you said last year where there wasn't as many varsity players at the beginning of the season, how do you build the team chemistry to make sure that at the beginning of the season, if you go into a place like St. Joe's, thankfully, we're not this year.
Yeah, we're going to be home with them, yeah.
But if you were, how would you be able to control the team's emotions?
Great question. Well, that's something we constantly work on. So it's the advantage, like we're going to build on what we said about what we did in the fall, that being connective and understanding each other and holding each other accountable is important. Now, the coach can only say so much. However, the players have to police themselves and they have to have that maturity level. And I think we do have that. So when things might go awry and not be great, they got to be able to say, hey, we're good. Let's move on to the next play. Don't sulk. Don't whatever that is we might have done in the past. We can't allow that to happen this year. And I think, like you said, how important that off season is, that's part of that process. Being able to be with each other, work with each other, see some things that aren't so great, and being able to address it amongst each other. Because great that they're friends, they should be able to express how they feel. And that individual who maybe is not acting the way they need to, and that's life. That happens with everybody. They should be mature enough to, hey, that my buddy, he cares about me. I got to do the best I can instead of saying, leave me alone. So I think we're at to that point where our players are going to be able to help. Because great teams, I tell my players, good teams, the coaches are really on top of them. The great teams, the players are on top of each other, and they handle those things.
I mean, I think that's a testament to you. You're setting the example of, like, your expectations of what you want from the team, and then they can do that to themselves. They can police each other and make sure that everyone's on the same page. And I think that's what makes a good team great.
Absolutely. And if you can't get over that hump, you're never going to get to the goals that you might set trying to be a great team.
Are there any younger players who might surprise people this year?
That's a great question. We have some kids who played a ton of varsity, a ton of JV last year. A couple freshmen that are now sophomores that are playing with the varsity. They may or may not see a ton of time, but they've been playing well and they're holding their own. Just as practice, they're kicking the first team's butt. And we don't know what the first team and second team is just yet. But guys like Andrew Pine and Dominic Frito. Henry Blomstrom, these guys are young guys that, are bought in. They have gone to every workout. They're doing all those things. So that's a shame. I'm probably leaving some guys out. Joe Alconga. I'm just thinking of guys that were on that team yesterday. Tristan was part of that team. Corey, as you know, but we know those are expectations from those guys. But these younger guys, these sophomores, I think have an opportunity to be very good players sooner rather than later, which is cool.
And that's amazing. That's what you need on this team so that next year when the seniors like Matt and Cam leave, you can have people to fill their shoes.
Yes, I think it's still very bright. Even when we have 6 seniors, like I said, 6 or 7 seniors. We have 7 seniors that are graduating. But these young kids are good. So they have a chance to continue the level of play that we hope we have this year carrying over to next year. But I'm not worried about next year just yet. I'm excited for this year.
That's what a good coach says.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of talking about what we said before with home court advantages going on the road. How did those players adapt to the new feeling, especially with our Bear Den that shows up to every single game?
Yeah, like last year we did really well at home. We had a few years there we weren't playing great at home, but I think it was the maturity level type of thing. Because I think it's great to have a great fan base. I think that helps. You have the cheerleaders on your side, the parents, everyone. You're in your home court. You're comfortable. You're playing and practicing there every day. So we want to hold our home court advantage. I think that's huge. But when we go on the road, it's great to get that fan base. But sometimes you might not always have it. So we always tell our players, listen, we have to be ultra focused, both at home and away. But really, listen, we got to be better than our opposing team on the road, probably by about 10 points. If you're not 10 points better, because if you count in being on the road, referees, not that they're biased, but they get caught in the emotions of the home team. That's why it's a home court advantage. If you're not close to 10 points better than your opponent on the road, it's going to be hard to win a game. So you got to be really, really elite when you're playing on the road.
That's very funny that you mentioned that, because the other day I was listening to the radio, or not the radio, the TV.
Yeah.
They're talking about Duke with a game-winning basketball shot, and gosh, I forget who they were playing, but whoever it was, their coach said, you have to be 10 points better than Duke, or else you're not going to win.
Okay.
Great coaches think
alike. Wow. Okay. I think they just lost to Florida. Duke.
Yes.
I mean, Florida just lost to Duke, so maybe
exactly.
It
was Florida. The Florida coach was saying you have to be 10 points better than Duke if you're playing at Cameron Indoor, or else you're not going to win. They ended up losing by one point.
Yep.
So that's exactly. So if you go to St. Joe's in, say, a GMC tournament, it's going to be rocking there.
Yeah.
You have to be
absolutely
at your best.
You have to overcome a lot of adversity to get a win.
Which games on this year's schedule do you think is going to be the most important? I mean, we see STA and St. Joe's both coming here to East Brunswick.
Yeah, well, this year it's exciting because we get to play everybody in the 2 divisions that are, the 2 you can call elite divisions in the conference. So there's not going to be any argument about, well, if we go to seeding, hey, well, we could have beat them, or everyone plays each other. So that's the exciting part. So we're going to play every good team in the conference. And it's good to be able to get to Joe's again, because that's always been a good rivalry for us. And they're supposed to be really, really good this year. But like I said, I think we'll be very good as well. And the thing is, you can't take any nights off. So there's no gimme games. At times in the past, you can have, we know we're going to beat that team. That's not the case. So if we don't show up ready to play every night, it's going to be a challenge. So really, every game is important, especially every division game, John, because when you get to the station, you're looking ahead. You're not looking ahead to the teams you're playing, but you're looking ahead to always try to get the best seed possible. And if you're not winning those games, you're not going to be getting those seeds. And then rather than playing at home like you're talking about, which is awesome, you're going to the road. So we got to take it like this is the only game. We're 1-0 on the schedule. If we win, we're 0-0. We're going to try to be 1-0. We have to have that mentality in order to be successful.
I think that's the best part about the GMC, where every single night you go in knowing that you're going to play a great opponent.
Yes.
It's not where it's like, okay, it's a gimme game.
Yeah.
And I think it's like iron sharpens iron, so that when the state tournament comes, you could be an underdog, but because you were playing such high-level opponents, this high-level number 2 seed doesn't look like anything special.
Great point. Absolutely great point. I always want to play really good teams, and we try to generally, as the season goes along, before the state tournament, try to match ourselves up against some really good teams to prepare us for the state tournament. But like you said, the whole season's like that for us. So as we build towards the GMC tournament, we've played every really good team: Piscataway, St. Joe's, St. Thomas, Saraville, all those teams, South Plainfield, all these teams we have on the schedule. So it's going to be fun and challenging and competitive. But obviously, we want to go out and win.
When the season is that long, it's almost 30 games
Yeah.
long, how do you keep the team in it and motivated to keep going out every single day?
That's a great question. Well, the keys is to keep them fresh. That's always a challenge early on. You want to make sure we're getting in the best shape possible leading up to our first game. But then as we go along, you want to try to make sure they're staying on top of their fitness levels, but not overdoing things. Okay, so they can maintain that, because they're going to get bumps and bruises. Basketball's a tough sport. You're not always going to feel great. So if their body's feeling good and they can have a clear mind, I think they're going to enjoy. And I'm always talking about, it's not always about wins and losses. While we'd love to win every game, of course we would. As a coach, when I look back at all the years I coached, it's my 28th year coaching basketball here at the high school, either JV or varsity. I remember the players, the journey we had, the bus rides, the competitive games, obviously, but a lot of personalities that you get to know. We have all our players. So many players come back, and we have an alumni games that we have in the winter, and you still have guys coming back from 25 years ago. So it's awesome to see. And I think that's what's important for the kids. So don't forget that. You're getting on the court, love the game, love what you're doing. You're here for a reason. You're sacrificing a lot of sacrifice you got to take, right? You're not able to do a lot of things your friends might be doing. You're playing basketball 6 days a week. So enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and hopefully all that will pay off at the end with wins. But if it doesn't, it's still going to be a great experience, because you're experiencing something that most people would love to have. But they can't do it because they're maybe not a good enough player and give the commitment that they need to be a really good basketball player.
I think it's like a brotherhood.
100%.
You look at the blue bloods in college basketball. Yeah. That's brotherhood.
Yeah.
Here at East Brunswick, it's not Duke, but it's a brotherhood, and seeing all of the guys walking in the halls with each other, joking around. I mean, that's what you want from your team.
Absolutely. That's what you really want. That's what you love about everything. Look at the relationships the guys are having. Like you said, walking the halls, enjoying themselves, talking basketball, but talking about other things. Basketball is not everything, right? You have a whole high school career, academics and athletics. Hopefully not everyone in athletics, but it's more than just basketball. But that gives you an opportunity to enjoy that career in your high school, right? You have that basketball part of it, and you learn a lot of life lessons, I think, in sports, as you know, I'm sure, John, with a lot of different things. Whatever sport you're in, you're learning a lot of things. You're learning adversity, you're learning time management. How am I balancing academics and athletics? So that's the part I think is priceless for athletes.
I think for me, golf is a very big one. That's a big time management thing, because round of golf, we only play 9 holes, but it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And you go somewhere 30 minutes away, 4 o'clock match, you might not get back until 8:30.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that's kind of the same way for basketball. We have a lot of 6 o'clock games this year.
Yep.
So
and they're not really able to run home. So you're saying you're going through the school day, then you're getting a shoot around in, then the JV's playing and the varsity's playing. Like you said, if it's an away game, you're not getting home 9:30. So that requires management, right? It requires you to be, oh, damn, I can't, now I'm going to do my homework at 10:30. That's tough. So you got to try to do those things and balance it, because we do have some phenomenal student athletes on our team that do great in academics and the athletics.
I think it sets the kids up for a better future, because they're not just going home and doing homework, but they're living a bigger life. They have to learn how to manage themselves so that in the future, if they get into a scenario where they're in a time crunch, they can manage their time better.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know the exact percentage, but there's an amazing percentage of student athletes and success and salary. Mm-hmm. The connection is amazing. So if you were a student athlete who played sports and went through all those things you're talking about, and we have gone through and you've gone through, success is going to be in the near future. And that's a high percentage. So I think you're right. It prepares you tremendously for life.
I hope that works out for me.
Absolutely. I have no doubt.
going in a little bit deeper, what style of basketball do you expect this team to play? Like
We're
tempo-wise?
We're gonna play fast. We have athletes that can run. I think we're gonna be able to score because we got some talent on. Like I said, we have 2,000 point scorers are going to be coming back for the most part to mix in with our other players. So we want to get more possessions, right? There's been years in the past where we don't have that much talent offensively. Let's slow the game down. Just keep the games tighter, have a better opportunity to win at the end. Now I think for us, we'll see how it plays up. Now it's the opposite. Let's get more possessions because there's a better chance that we're going to score more than the opponent with more our opportunities to score. So we're going to try to play as fast as we can.
It's kind of like football with the running game.
Yeah.
You're trying to tire them out so when the fourth quarter comes, they're already screwed and they can't run anymore.
Yeah.
But I think that's like with their conditioning in the preseason. They're running so much now that when the fourth quarter comes in, 50-50 game, they're the better team in that situation.
Yes, and that we've talked about that. And we have guys in great shape. So that's, we tell them you can control one thing because you can't control what the coach is going to do for the most part, what the refs are going to say, right? The opponent, you can't. But what you can control is certain things, being a good teammate, making sure you know what's going on in the court, but being in great shape. That's total control. You have that in you. And a lot of guys bought into that and coming into the season in great condition because, it's going to be, if you're going to play that fast, if you're not in great shape, you're going to have to come off the court pretty quickly. So if you want to stay on the court and be successful and play at a high level, you got to be in good shape.
I think it's nice, though, that you have so many talented players that if you have to bring someone, I know you don't want to, but if you have to bring
100%.
someone off the court, you know that the next guy up is
Great point. And I'm not trying to shape it any other way. I'm very happy with when we go to our bench because it's not going to be a drop-off. Right?
I mean, that's the best part.
Absolutely. We're excited for all the guys that are going to be playing.
You talk about maturity. What are you emphasizing most in practice right now?
Well, being tough, a guy I coach for and coach with, he said that the toughest part, the hardest part, and the biggest challenge, and the most important part is the 6 inches between the ears, is that the mental part. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of good players we have in the program, a lot of players we're going to be playing that are really good basketball players, opponents, but how are you handling yourself on the court? Like we mentioned, can you get over adversity? Are we going from offense to defense quickly? Are you able to focus in on that? What are we running? Are we changing defenses? Right? There's a lot that goes on in basketball and other sports too, where you gotta use your brain. You gotta react and be an athlete, but you gotta make sure that it's up here. Are you allowing things to get into your head? Are you allowing your opponent to get in your head? Are you allowing a bad call to bother you? So it's more here we're focusing on as we go along than maybe the X's and O's.
I mean, when you go into a big rivalry game, everything is up 10 levels. So how do you make sure, especially if it's on the road in a hostile environment, how do you make sure that the team is ready for those tough situations?
Well, we try to tell the kids we never want you to get too high or too low. Right? It's great to get excited. I think for some people it's good to play with an anger, and some players it's not because then it affects them up here. Mm-hmm. So it depends on what makes it work for you, but never get too high, too excited, or too down with something because basketball can change like that. A 10-point lead could be a 10-point down 10 in 3-4 minutes. Just the way it works. So next play mentality, never get too excited, but never to get too down on yourself. Try to be an even-keel guy throughout the game. And if you can do that for those 32 minutes, we're always going to have an advantage.
I mean, it's funny where there's like some people, when the emotions get high, they either show up or they don't.
Yes.
And it's interesting to see, because it's very clear and obvious which guys those are and who benefits from it and who hurts from it.
Yeah. Your body language says a lot, right? So like you said, you can see it, right? Your body language screams out loud. If you're down and sulking and down on yourself, or yelling at your teammates, that says a lot. So we want to make sure we control that as best we can.
Smart. What do you hope fans will see from this group that they haven't seen in the past few years?
Well, we progressively have gotten better, so that's good. So we are hoping that this team can take us to levels. That hope, like I said, it's going to be one game at a time. But I'm hoping for us to have a chance to compete for championships, both in the county and the state tournament. That's the goal.
I mean,
I think that's going to be their goal too.
there's a lot of talk in the school, like compared to other sports. We have great athletics here at East Brunswick,
Absolutely.
but right now it's basketball. I don't know why, but it's basketball, and it's great to see.
Yeah, well, they're seeing the same faces, good talented faces. So the expectation every year, these guys come back, you expect to be better. But obviously, like any sport, you need a really good supporting cast, and I think we have that. But once again, it's a process, and we got to do one game at a time. And I think we'll be rewarded as long as we stay on that path of trying to get better every day in practice, because we try to make the practices harder than games. And if we can do that, by the time we get to the end of the year, we're going to be very comfortable playing in those types of games that you were mentioning.
I like that. That's actually very smart. I never would have thought about making practice harder than the game, but I feel like it makes sense. If the practice is harder than the game, then a tough game is going to feel easy because you're working hard in practice.
Yeah, you're used to doing it. You're used to doing it.
Do you do for you were talking about like your starting lineup in practice? Is it like the starters against the bench players, or how does that
Good
work?
question. At times we do that at the starting, and sometimes we vary it. I don't know. Maybe we 60-40, 70-30 starters versus the bench players. But then it gives an opportunity for both, and then we try to mix it into where starters are playing each other depending on the position, so they can get a different feel, defensively, offensively, playing with different people. Because if you're not having the so-called bench players playing with some of the starters, they're going to be in games. So we want to make sure they're getting a good understanding of their game and playing with them as well. So we try to mix it up.
I think that's what makes East Brunswick so much different than other schools, where East Brunswick, the bench players are bench players, but if they were to play at a lot of other schools, like these kids would be starting or have major roles in their
Yeah,
lineup.
I think so. No doubt. I think so. That's the challenge of playing at a big school like East Brunswick. If you're going to a smaller school, that's definitely would be the case. But that's what makes it. It's tough. It's not easy. So life isn't easy sometimes. So you got to overcome that. How you do it is putting the effort in your game as much as you can. Now, sometimes that isn't enough. But at least you can go down saying, listen, I'm working hard. Did everything I possibly can to be part of the team or play for the team. That's going to say a lot about you and that individual moving forward in life, because they're giving their whole. There's going to be some failures no matter what. But if you're not going to try and give the effort, that's what kind of lesson is that? So it's a life lesson, I think, for those kids who are may not be starting. It goes from, can I make the team? Can I get some minutes? Can I start? It's always that desire to get better.
There's always something to work for.
Exactly. Perfectly put. Exactly. So
I think that's what makes the players want to show up every day. The urge to get better, the want that I need to be. If you're getting 5 minutes a game, you're not going to want that. You want more. Of
course.
And you always want more.
It's human nature. I agree with you. Yeah.
I think that's what makes basketball so interesting, because you have to work. It's very clear what players are working versus not working. You can't just stand on the court and do nothing.
True, but we just want to make it a point to the players, because everyone's important. And a guy might be playing 5 minutes, but those 5 minutes are unbelievably important, because there can be game-changing plays in those 5 minutes. So players knowing their roles are so important, because of any great team, the players know what the expectation is for them. What do they do well? And when they get on the court, could be 5 minutes, could be 15, could be 2. Do what you do really well, because you're going to help change the outcome of the game. And you're just as important as anybody else, because if we don't have that lack of 3-4 minutes, 2 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes can be the difference of us losing and winning a championship, for crying out loud. So
exactly.
Everybody matters. Unbelievably important.
Yes.
Really.
Exactly. Some quick questions.
Sure.
Who's the funniest player on the team?
Funniest player on the team? That's a good question. It's early yet. Who's the funniest player on the team? We have a lot of good personalities on the team, I'll tell you that. I know Noah DeJesus is a quiet, funny guy. He says things, he does things and says things that are pretty funny. He did not so, emotional. He keeps it to himself, but if you're paying attention to him, you're going to be laughing at him. He's a well-liked kid. But we have a lot of funny kids, a lot of great personalities that makes practice fun, and they get along so well. So they're busting each other in ways, but it's all in good fun. But I'd mention him, but it'd be unfair to mention other players. Some guys are quieter than others, but for the most part, we got some characters on the court. Tristan seems to be a funny guy too. He's new to us, and he's getting to understand our team. But you can see he's got a good personality. He's a fun-loving kid. And we have a number of those guys on the team this year.
Builds team camaraderie.
Absolutely. We want them to be themselves. That's important.
Exactly.
Got to be yourself.
Yes. Who is the fastest player on the team?
Fastest player on the team is probably Dylan McLean. He's an unbelievable condition. He's a track guy. Talk about a kid who never slacks. He works so hard. His effort is unbelievable. He leads by example through his effort because he's always playing 100%. He's been doing it since his freshman year. I'm excited for Dylan because he's going to have a great senior year. And we just talked about his speed, but just about him, he's just an awesome kid. And but he's lightning fast. You're going to see him flying up and down the court this year.
Does he enjoy the conditioning?
Yes, because he's in great shape, so it's easy for him.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, so that doesn't bother him at all because he's always going a million miles an hour. Like I said, we talked about making practice harder. Things are easy for him now because he's practiced so hard for so long. Some guys, you always ask the players, you got to try to play as hard as you can all the time. It's easier said than done. That's a talent to play hard all the time. And he's one of those guys that has done that, and his game is just really grown because of it.
He and Matt McCulca do like morning workouts at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, commitment's amazing. Yeah,
it's insane. I can never do that.
Absolutely, yeah. But that's why you mentioned two names are going to be awesome for us this year. So there's a reason why you put that time in because you usually get rewarded.
Exactly. Who's the strongest player on the team?
Strongest player on the team. That's a good question. I mean, Dylan's very strong too. When you talk about strength, weight-wise, he's strong. Noah's, people bounce off him. He's strong as hell. But we got a strong group. These guys all worked hard. So our posts are strong. Our guards are strong. I mean, Cam is pound for pound, maybe Cam, because he's rock solid. People bounce off him when he's going to the lane. So we got now you mentioned, we got a strong group of guys that play. So once again, putting in the time in the weight room.
I mean, that's huge. You need strength. You can't just bounce off guys and fall over.
And then you get fatigued if you're not over the course of the year. If you don't have that strength, your body's going to break down.
Good. Yeah. I didn't think about that. Well, what's one thing you think about as a coach, or what's one thing about you as a coach that people might not know?
As a coach,
or as a person?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of other things. I play golf. I'm a golf coach. I think I'm a jokester. I mean, people who know me know, I try to make them laugh as much as possible. The kids might not always see that.
So you might be the funniest guy on the team.
It could be, but a lot of kids don't know that because I got to make sure coaching first. But I could probably be better with that too. Give a little bit more personality for the kids. A lot of kids who've had me for years get it, but I should probably work on that. And every year as a coach, you try to work on things. So that's something I can work on. But I think them not knowing how much of a jokester I could be and that type of thing is probably something they don't recognize, or not all of them recognize.
You're mean to them.
Sometimes they would think. I try not to be mean, but maybe the face makes me look mean. But I'm usually when I'm coaching, I'm 9 out of 90% I'm positive, and the other time I got to be constructive. But for the most part, I'm positive with everybody, and that's gotten better over the course of years. You grow. You hope to grow as a player, as a student, as a human being, as a coach. I got to try to grow. And if not, you're not getting better. So that's what we try to do.
If you're not learning, you're not growing.
Absolutely.
It's time to learn every time.
Absolutely.
And finally, what message do you want to send to your players as the season kicks off?
What message? We have an unbelievable opportunity to have a special season, one of the more special seasons we've had in years and years. So it's going to be up to them to sacrifice, right? You might not always get what you want. You might not always play the position you want or get the minutes you want, score as much as you need. But if we all sacrifice and do what's best for the team, they're going to have some memories that they're going to have for a lifetime. So I'm excited for them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm Jonathan, and that's Coach Motusesky.